Okay, we are live. Hello, welcome to the Cinema Savvy Movie Podcast, and welcome to episode 3 of Timestamp Zero. This is the show where each month we nominate 5 picks each. We pass it to you, and you get to vote on which film we watch. Today's episode is going to be on The Thing. We finally settled on it. This is John Carpenter's The Thing from the 80s, and oh boy, the whole voting thing for this month was insane. I didn't expect it to be this quick, this close. Sorry, Tate, you've got the results up. Let's just lay this thing out because this was insane.
We had a total of 51 votes, which I'm pretty impressed with.
Yeah, thank you to everyone that voted, by the way.
Let's start off with 5th place, Braveheart, 4 votes. Thank God for that.
It's a fantastic film.
Both me and George did not want to see this film.
It's a long sit. It's like 3 hours, guys.
Yeah. Then in 4th place, we have The Terminator with 7 votes, which was only on 1 vote at the start of the day today, so climbed up massively. Then we have the big hitters. We join 2nd.
Yeah.
We have American Psycho and Rocky on 12 votes each.
Now, can I say Rocky made the absolute climb? That was amazing. You really didn't want to do Rocky. You're not a fan of that. And when I actually set up this whole stream today and did the title, got the information out sorted, it was originally going to be Rocky, but as you can tell from how many votes we got for this one,
everything was on 6 votes. Like everything was tied on 6 votes, but then Rocky just went up to 10, which was like, oh my god, we're doing Rocky. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, American Psycho climbed up and matched it, and then The Thing, which is what we're going to be doing, came out of nowhere and managed to get 16 votes. So it obviously got 10 votes today.
Yeah, and voting is officially closed right now because I don't need this shit in my life if I've got to turn The Thing off like halfway through and switch to Rocky. We're sticking on John Carpenter's The Thing right now. Yes. So how this show works is we provide a commentary on it. We'll go in depth in some things. I've been doing a little bit of research on this one, watching a bit of behind the scenes stuff. I have my DVD copy ready to go with this one. If I move it out of the light, there we go. This is actually, I don't know if it's one of my favorite films of all time, but certainly in the kind of horror sci-fi genre, it's definitely up there.
It was number 1 horror film, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think this movie's made an appearance on both of our lists for our top 10 horror movies.
This and The Shining were the only 2 that made both our lists.
And you kind of, I was going to get into this in the main commentary, but we're kind of stalling for time at the minute because we don't know if George is going to be joining us or whether me and Tate will be taking this one on our own. You're not sure whether you stand on the fact that this is actually a horror movie. You have a very specific criteria when it comes to how you define a horror film.
I find it very difficult nowadays to define what is horror and what is not horror. Because horror has basically become gore.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I'd say the truest horror film to take place in recent years is The Conjuring. And I'm not sure about The Conjuring 2. But that really does hark back to the old horrors. However, that still has jump scares in it. I'd say suspense horror. I'd happily say that Crimson Peak wasn't that bad. I mean, I didn't like it at first, but it's kind of grown on me, and it's kind of like I went back to it and had another look at it, and it was actually pretty decent. That's a really old school kind of horror film, but really the suspense horrors died. Thrillers are now all action thrillers, and horror doesn't really sit well now in the public opinion. It's just not there. And I made a prediction at the start of the year that this would be the year where they or this would be the start of people bringing back practical horror because of Mad Max doing so well with practical effects, and they're thinking, okay, we'll expand that back out into the horror genre. And yet, I still don't know. It's just nothing's really going back to a film like this, which was real practical horror. And I find it really hard to define this film. I'd say it was a sci-fi thriller. I wouldn't say it was a horror film.
Yeah, Wikipedia has it down as a science fiction horror film. I would still class it as a horror film, personally, because it does have the horror elements in there, and it has the sense of dread and foreboding and paranoia.
This does have gore in it, but it's practical gore. It's not like CGI gore. It's not imposed gore.
Yeah,
it's needed to advance the plot.
It's almost like body horror, you know. It's like something you'd kind of find in a Cronenberg film, like The Fly or Videodrome or something like that. It's kind of just unpleasant, alien. Exactly what this film is. It's an alien that can manifest itself into all different manners of things. So that's kind of needed, and that grotesque, otherworldly quality to it is needed for this film. But then on the flip side, if I'm going for a horror film, it has to scare me. Like, that's my biggest criteria for a horror movie, is that I want it to scare me. I want to feel that just adrenaline rush as I watch it. I know you're not into the horror things, and we'll get into that when we get into the film. But I mean, you're fine with watching this film, and that's
this is a great film.
When I'm trying to think, we'll go into it a bit when we first watched this film, our first experiences with it. But I bought this on a recommendation from the guys at the uni. They were big John Carpenter fans, big horror fans, and this was one that I'd always heard of. I'd seen screenshots in kind of horror books that I had as a kid, and on top 100 countdowns I'd watch on the TV of the greatest horror movies, this would always be on there. And so I just kind of bought it, sat down, and was expected to be horrified by it. And I really wasn't. It's a fantastic film, just acting, suspense, just everything like that. And the effects in it are second to none. But I don't get scared at it at all. Like, I could watch this at any point and not be terrified by it. And that's the thing that goes against me, where I put this more into sci-fi rather than horror. But it does have those horror aspects, although...
I feel like it's a sci-fi thriller with horror aspects, not a sci-fi horror. A sci-fi horror would be something like... what's that film called? Event Horizon.
Yeah,
Alien.
yeah.
Those are sci-fi horror films. This isn't really a sci-fi horror film.
Well, even Alien has moments like that with the whole chest burster thing, like that really unpleasant. Like there's a scene similar to this, which we'll get into when we start the commentary, with a character lying on a hospital bed or a table of some kind, and this horrific alien thing happens to him. So there is that similarity there. Are we still waiting on George? Do we know?
I think we start and he can join us whenever.
Fine, right, we'll get straight into it now. As I said, we're going to do our best to give as much context as we can. So if you do have a copy of the film at home, you can get it to timestamp 0 now and get ready to press play when we tell you to. You can watch it at home, or if not, and you're just listening to us, just watching the video, we'll try and give enough context of what's actually happening in the film so you can just watch it like that. So, Tate, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, so we will click on 3. 3, 2, 1, go.
Ooh, quiet. Ooh.
And here we go. Ennio. Tate should be off like this. Now, this, when I first started watching this movie, and we get this low synth note just come in, and there we go on the credits, Ennio Morricone. Very different to the soundtracks he's kind of most well known for. He's most well known for the kind of spaghetti western, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly Dollars trilogy films like that. More recently, again with the western genre, this is very different. Very simple as well. Like, as the film goes on, it's kind of like a 2-note thing, like dun dun. It's almost like a heartbeat. It's not particularly a soundtrack I'd listen to on its own, but it works so well in this film.
It's suspense. It builds up slowly. You don't realize that it's getting louder.
And this is what I miss from modern day films, actually. There's a great many things I miss in modern day films from older ones, but the main one is an opening credits like this.
Yes.
No images. It feels like films are more impatient now. It's like, come on, we got to get to the action. We got to get into the film. But this is still part of the film. This is the atmosphere. It's the build. Here we get our shot of... And that UFO as well was made with a model. And I was watching the behind the scenes, and it's a little scale model. It looks amazing. They've got like the whole lights going around it. And it was only used in those first 2 shots. I love this credit sequence right here. Just, oh, it looks so good. And again, how they made that title, like how it fades in. So creative how they did it. They like had an empty fish tank and filled it with smoke and had some kind of stenciled thing on the back for the title and lights, and he like burnt something so it all faded in at the time. Really, really creative stuff. Dun 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 dun.
Wait.
You try and get it timed. Check if we're in sync. So for those watching at home, it's just got to the shot now where it's the snowy canyon, and you've just got the helicopter in the background. Yeah.
I'm clapping along to the beat.
Now, this is a film that I always love showing my mates who haven't seen it before. There's a lot of films I love doing that with. It's like, you haven't seen this film, right? Sit down, we are watching this movie right now. And this is always an interesting one because right from this opening sequence, we haven't got the shot of it yet, but the dog that they're chasing, the wolf, it's always kind of amazing because as a viewer, you automatically take the side of the animal, and you're just constantly questioning, like, why is this guy trying to snipe the wolf? So I guess while the film's getting into it like this, can you remember the first time you watched this movie, or sort of how you came about deciding to watch it?
Yeah, I was young and my dad was like, "Hey, do you want to watch this film?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" Watched it. I was like, "Okay, that was
Can
the
you
film."
can you remember how old you were when you watched it?
8, 9.
Oh Jesus, you watched this way before I did.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool though that you liked it, you know, from that age. Do you remember being scared at it, or did you just
The one
love it?
scene, no, I was freaked out, but I wasn't scared. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is that? I reacted, I was like, what? He's got such a bad aim. I'm sorry.
Oh, I know. He's like me on every FPS I play. He's just fire enough bullets and hope to hit the target.
In fact, I play TF2, and I used the main sniper. He can't even no-scope, guys. Come on.
That dog is just like using the recon strategy of I'm just going to run in a straight line. I'm not going to serpentine or anything.
Serpentine! Serpentine! I never got to comment on that, and I'm really unhappy. But
don't worry, bro. When we get to it there this week on the series finale,
Game of Thrones 10 thing tomorrow. It's fine.
You've got to give your thoughts on episode 8 and 9. You've got a double bill.
2 words for episode 8, and like 2 hours for episode 9.
Oh yes, now we get our introduction to McCready.
Ooh, some lovely product advertising there.
Oh, brilliant. Chess wizard. Gotta love that old PC.
Oh, who's winning? I'm trying to figure it out.
I think, well, you'll find out in a minute, but...
Yeah. No, because we can't see Knight to Rook 3.
Well, he's getting very cocky here. He's like, you're starting to lose it. He's like, yeah, I've got this in the bag.
Oh,
nah.
Damn. Oh, damn.
Now we have just Kurt Russell, or to address him by his official title, Kurt motherfucking Russell. He is the man. He is one of my favorite actors of all time. In a whole bunch of stuff I love, and I'm so glad that he was cast in Hateful Eight.
This is his best film, though.
Oh, that's a tough one. That's, again, another John Carpenter film, Big Trouble in Little China. He is fantastic in that film, but yeah, I'd probably say this is his best one.
Didn't he play, wasn't he in Escape from New York?
That was the that John Carpenter made just before this one. In the behind the scenes, he talked about that they finished that movie and then they went straight onto production for this one. And I think he said that it's, I don't know when the special features were recorded for that DVD, but he said that at the time, that was the longest pre-production he's ever had for one of his movies. It was like over a year before they even started filming. Because John Carpenter always strikes me as the kind of director that's literally just, let's grab a camera and let's just film this thing. Like, he's a really just hands-on, old school type of filmmaker. Yeah, look at him in his fucking shades. Oh, and Child's in this movie as well, Keith David. I actually watched another John Carpenter film for the first time a couple of weeks ago, They Live. Really, really great movie. Love that movie, and Keith David's fantastic in that.
I watched it because of the South Park episode.
Yeah, yeah. We see, I'd watched the South Park clip before and just thought it was something that South Park did. And then when I got to They Live, I was like, oh, okay. Because that's something that South Park do so well. I'm trying to remember where they filmed this film. I think it was in British Columbia.
Here, the Norwegian. Norwegians. The Norwegians have definitely the right idea.
just blow it the fuck up.
You know what? I blame Peter for everyone dying in this movie.
Yeah. I guess later on down the line, I'll probably save it for when the Thing actually appears in the film. I want to talk about that horrible prequel / remake they made a couple of years ago.
Oh dear lord, with the Norwegians
to this film.
Terrible.
Yeah. Completely unnecessary film. We'll wait till they get to the camp scene before I talk about that, but oh my god, this guy. God damn it, hit the deck.
Best decision he's ever made in his life.
Damn it.
Oh!
I mean, there had to be a way where they had to describe that they couldn't get away in a helicopter, right? That they're completely isolated there. Ooh, kneecapped. See, as a viewer, you are still just questioning what the hell is going on. Like, what is the deal? Like, maybe you could kind of, if you're like a horror aficionado, like you could tell that there was something up with the wolf. But I love this guy. Like when he gets, look at him, like he's milking that death scene for all it's worth.
There's that second twitch.
Yeah.
It's in that comfortable position.
I swear to God as well, like if you go back and like watch him, like when he gets shot in the head, it's like a delayed reaction. Like he gets hit in the head, he's like, oh, and then he goes down.
Like... I think he's dead, Bob.
Lingering shot. Actually, when we were talking about our top 10 list that we did on our horror films, I think, was it The Shining and The Thing were pretty much interchangeable for us at like number 1 and 2 position?
I put The Thing... I put The Shining at number 3.
Yeah.
You put The Thing at number
2, I think.
You did put The Thing number 2. I put Thing at number 1. You put Shining at number 1. So
yeah,
it's pretty much interchangeable.
Because I was thinking you can draw a lot of similarities between this and The Shining. Like the kind of setting, the very isolated, paranoid,
because I was
uneasy atmosphere.
Number 2.
Mm. So how many?
Had 2 lines of dialogue, yes.
Oh, sorry.
We're like a few minutes in.
Yeah.
We've had like this is the most amount of dialogue we've had.
Yeah, we're about, if we do a time check, I'm at 10 minutes 30.
Wait a sec. Time check. Yeah, about 10 minutes 30.
One thing I like about this film as well, and I still struggle to remember all their names in this, but the personalities of the characters are all great. And, you know, it's interesting just to point out that this is an all-male cast movie. John Carpenter spoke about that he was thinking about adding some female members into the cast, because this is kind of a remake. It's more a reimagining, I would say, or readaptation. It was originally a short story, then it was adapted into a much earlier film. I think it's just called, is it The Thing from Outer Space or something like that? It's got a much longer title.
This is one of the greatest remakes of all time.
Yeah.
Oh,
it is very different, though. Oh, this guy, I love him. He gets one of my favorite lines. It's not yet, though. Oh.
Oh. I think there's a 1 second reaction between us, Chris.
Right, I'm going to pause it for a couple of seconds then. 1, 2. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
What up?
Just love that guy. He's just like the stoner guy. So how many times would you say you've seen this film in total, if you can remember? Rough ballpark figure.
3, 4, 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much like there or upwards of that, yeah. And again, like films like Inception or other films like that, this is one I always come back to, and I pick up something different every time I watch it. The biggest thing from this film is to try and work out which order the people are, which people are the Thing, which people aren't, who got infected first. I think I'm still asking those questions. I'm sure there's a bunch of articles on the internet that's like laid it out
at the end, which we won't go into at the moment.
Yeah, well, we've kind of got into spoil territory at the minute by saying that the wolf's the thing. Yeah.
Well, that was obvious, and it becomes obvious.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, okay.
God, Kurt Russell's just so badass. Tango and Cash is another one.
This has to be one of the best film beards.
Yes. I mean, wouldn't you do that if you were like hired by like a science team and you had to spend months, maybe even years in just desolate, horrible Arctic wasteland? You just grow a sweet beard just for something to do, just for a project.
Yeah.
He's got like the cowboy hat on and everything. Oh, that's good. Oh, that dog is so creepy. the dog is one of the best actors in this movie.
Who gets infected first?
I have an idea. We'll see when we get to it, but I have an idea. So yeah, I mean, we kind of did this series because we did miss doing Film Club, and I miss doing Film Club as well, where we used to pick a movie that tied into our main review of the week. I said this last time when we did Russian Prestige. It's kind of nice to just sit down and watch some of these older films again, especially with the kind of thing we do as well, where we watch all the new releases that come out, or most of them. Oh, I've got to point this out as well. Great song choice, really, really clever song choice for this film.
Yeah.
And he does like the smoothest goddamn moonwalk on those roller skates now. Look at this. Hang on. Oh, look at that. He's so smooth with it. Oh, God, they made Stevie Wonder creepy. They made the funkiest song in the world creepy.
Master Blaster is funkier.
Oh, God, look at that. Just still static shots like that. And they said when they trained this, actually, I'll wait till the scene plays out because this is one of the most enigmatic scenes in the whole film. Boom. I love how that shot's framed.
First person.
Yeah, because the thing is clever. Well, at least in this film, unlike the goddamn remake prequel that came out, it's methodical and it waits till it gets someone on their own before it takes them over. The question is, who was it? The film plays out. We'll try and suggest who we think was the first one to get taken over. I've got a few ideas, but this
we can cancel out at least 2 people.
Oh yeah.
People, in fact, like the 2 there in the helicopter and the dude playing the music, just completely voided.
And I've been trying to watch this film so many times in that scene and try to judge by the silhouette who it looks like.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know which actor they got to do that silhouette, or maybe it was like someone on the crew or something. It doesn't necessarily have to be one of the main actors. So now we're at the Norwegian site. So this is basically the events of the remake they did. I guess it is a prequel, but for all intents and purposes, it may as well have just been a remake.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
I don't think they actually had any Norwegian actors.
No. Actually, I don't know what nationality is, but the guy who plays Tormund in Game of Thrones, he was in there. I know that.
Was he?
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't actually watch the entire movie. It was like an absolute middle finger to this movie, and I really resented it. So I just flicked it off like halfway through. I think it was on TV one time, and I just thought, okay, I'll give it a watch. I know it's not going to be good, and it wasn't.
turned it on
But
and thought, oh my god, it's the thing. And then it was like, oh, it's the oh god, oh god.
yeah, and it's
speaking an Irish voice, and I was like, no,
and it's just
no.
the annoying thing. The annoying thing with that is
Yeah.
that they call it the thing. Like, just call it the thing and then like a name after it or something. Now you have to go, oh, have you seen the thing? Oh yeah, I've seen that. It wasn't very good. No. John Carpenter's or the 1982 the thing. I hate when they do that. Just call it something different. Although on Wikipedia it says it's also known as The Thing Awakens or The Thing The Beginning. So I don't know. I've only seen it advertised as The Thing.
The beginner thing.
Yeah.
The beginner thing.
I got to remember in the prequel as well, Mary Elizabeth Winstead played the main character, and I think she's a fantastic actress. I know you haven't seen it yet. Wait until the DVD comes out, and we will get on a review with it. I saw it when it came out. Probably should have done a solo review, but I really wanted to do one with one of you guys for 10 Cloverfield Lane. She's in that. She's a great actress. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and she was just kind of wasted in that film, unfortunately. And the thing is, as well, that it's not a story that needed to be told at all.
Wait,
Is
this 10 Cloverfield Lane or Scott Pilgrim?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the thing again now, like the prequel. It wasn't a story that needed to be told with it because it works perfectly when you just watch it in this context where you're learning as these characters are learning. You know that something bad happened here with the alien, that the whole just team has been decimated. He's got like frozen blood, like he's slit his throat. It's just, this stuff is great. We don't need a prequel film to show us everything that happened up to this point because the greatest thing is the ambiguity here and the mystery. And you ultimately see it happen later on in the film anyway. So, so why I'm against kind of prequels on the whole, unless they're done very well.
Well, like the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, the thing from, what was it, like 2011 needed Duel of the Fates in there, then I may give it a free pass. Needs more Jar Jar.
Jar Jar is the thing.
It's the thing's natural form is a Gungan. Man, Kurt Russell needs to be in more movies. I was hoping that Hateful Eight would be a comeback for him. Actually, hasn't he been cast in the new Fast and Furious movie coming out, Fast and Furious 8?
Don't know, but Helen Mirren has.
Oh, okay. I think it's Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
She playing the villain.
I think so.
Oh, this music.
Nice. That's good for a rugby squad.
Is that, yeah, fancy a dip?
Ooh, bit chilly.
McCready should have just taken like a glass of scotch with him and just been like chipping some off the side and just like throwing it in the glass. So I'm assuming in the prequel we see them dig this out. As I said, I don't remember seeing it, but and I love that there you don't see it completely clearly.
It is foreshadowing though, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is the body they take back, isn't it? And you get sort of a closer up shot on it. Yeah, you're right, man. They don't make. I know we were talking about before, like we don't really know if we class this as a horror film, but they don't make films like this anymore.
No,
like this. I mean, stuff's been happening. I mean, we're almost with like 22 minutes into the film right now, And if this had been the prequel, then we would have had the thing bursting out right now and about.
Straight up staring out the window.
God, that dog is so creepy.
Like, they're back. He's back.
It's like yes, my plan worked perfectly. Or maybe it's like, oh shit, they're onto me. See, if I was doing the thing, I would have it where it can become like a fucking transformer and it can just like turn into a helicopter and just like fly away. So like we're going by T1000 logic. It can't replicate chemicals, moving parts. It doesn't work that way. Oh, look at that. Practical effects, man. And I'm gonna just talk about this all the way through. Makes such a difference. Look at that. It's something tangible. I think they said that they filled it with like horrible smelling stuff, so all the reactions are just natural. Makes such a difference.
Do you reckon it was also the first time they'd seen it? That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been cool if they unveiled. Yeah, possibly. I think they would have smelt it first. So. I mean, absolutely just. Oh, God, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just about to say, I reckon it was him who got first.
Oh, look at that. It's like the two faces merged into one. So good. It absolutely amazes me as well that when this film.
Straight up.
Oh, I love this bit.
Cool, man.
I love this bit. That's like me every time I turn my iPod on and I've had it on full volume. It's like, oh, play the song. Ah, fuck. But yeah, when this film came out, I think it was originally not a flop, but I really think it was negatively received by critics, which just completely blows my mind because it's fantastic. I mean, since then it's
because Pulp Fiction was panned, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's. I mean, thankfully built up a huge cult following now. Everyone kind of loves this film. I talk to or is a horror fan. Oh, look at that!
Jelly.
See, this kind of gore works for me. Like it's revulsion, but there's a meaning behind it. It's an alien creature, you know. Oh, I just got a message from George, which reads "shit, guys." So I'm assuming he's like slept or he's actually just
went for a
yeah.
Yes, George.
Is George still going to jump on for like emotional support? Because there's kind of no point now unless he tries to sync up the movie with us. Actually, has George ever seen this film?
I'm unsure.
Because I thought he said like he'd never seen it, and I was kind of hoping to get him on this stream so I could get his initial impressions like we did with Rush. Oh, VHS. What is this strange alien device from my youth?
I've still got one.
Yeah, I've still got mine over there. Still got my video shelf there, a few of my Disney ones.
Oh, I'm going to say it isn't him because he's just lit a cigarette. Therefore, fire.
This bit's interesting as well. I'm going to let this play out and then talk a bit about after it happens.
Can't be him because he's bald.
That bit there. A lot of people I've showed it to assume that kind of infected him, almost like a zombie, like it bit him as it walked past. But later on in the film, we see it actually like attaching with like tentacles and like a mouth and digesting it almost. I think he was just startled as it run past him, and it adds to that sense of dread and foreboding about the dog and that there's something not quite right with it. And we need to remember later on in the film as well. I know if we're not giving too much away with spoilers and things like that, but they do the blood test later on in the film, so we know which characters aren't a thing during that. Man, the dog plays this scene fantastically. Oh.
He's like, I now own this hood.
It's just how I mean, I'm commenting on a dog's acting right now. I've never done this in my life, but just how the dog like carries itself, like when it like skulks in on shore, and then they're all lying down regularly, and that's just like bolt upright. Because the dog was actually half dog, half wolf, and it had a lot of the wolf tendencies were like more dominant in it than. Oh, I think we're gonna get some practical effects right now. Oh, look at that.
Beautiful.
This scene's actually really, really hard for me to watch as well because I'm like the kennel guy in this film. I absolutely love dogs. And it's just, it is horrific, but it's fantastic how they make it look. You got the spider legs on it and the oh.
Dog trying to break free.
I mean, this is horrible. I mean, look at it. And there's a scene later on where they shoot the dog. And it's a puppet, clearly. They're not shooting a real dog, but just the puppetry and the effects in this film. And it like when it gets shot, it like jolts a little bit from the gunshot, and it looks so real. It's just amazing the talent that went into this for the effects. I'd actually hold this up as probably one of the best practical effects films I've ever seen in my life.
Now we can't actually see in. No. Okay.
That's one of the biggest jump scares in the movie for me. That sound effect's great as well from the thing. That weird like hiss.
But you know that one of the dogs might be infected now.
Mm. Well, I mean, when it cuts back, it's already trying to infect one. Although it's kind of weird because, I mean, it already has the power to turn into a dog. Oh, no, because it spreads, doesn't it? It wants to spread. It wants to make more of them. Yeah, ignore me.
Great line. It's weird. And
yeah. Most iconic line from the film, I would say. One of the shots coming up in a minute when we next see the thing is one of the coolest looking puppets I've ever seen in the film. So good.
So, throughout the entire film, I'm pretty sure the thing infects someone and then shows itself and sees what it can do.
Oh man, look at that. This bit here where it shoots one with like a bit wrapped around its neck. It looks so real. That bit. I mean, it's horrible, man, that they have to, like, they've got to shoot all the dogs, but, I mean, they have to do it.
Yep.
And the effects still hold up so well in this film. There's a little bit of a wonky effect later on, but I mean, on the whole, like 95% of the effects in this film still look great to this day. And you know, that's why this film's gonna age better Well, it's still aging now. It looks fine. And the prequel, even by the year it came out, looked terrible. And the sad thing with the prequel is that they started to build the practical effects for it, like this movie.
Yeah.
And I think they were nearly completed. I can't remember how many percentage wise they were in their progress, but they'd almost had it done, and then they got the call from the studio saying like, "No, we want to do it all CGI." And oh, Tate, are you there? Okay, we seemed. Yeah, we dropped it. I was worried there. I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to do what you had to do on some of the Game of Thrones ones.
Click on George's message, and then they reloaded the page.
Oh, look at that! It's just a pile of just blood and guts and ass. It's just right there on the table.
A pile of blood, guts, and ass.
And you can quote me on that. That's the put that on the poster.
Is he even using gloves?
I feel like, yeah, he's got gloves on. Look, I'd probably have bigger gloves on my hands than that. I'd have like ones where like they're helping deliver like a calf or something. The ones that go right up the arm. Not getting any of that shit on me. I know it's an alien creature, but it looks so realistic. Like how it's got it's got the thing and the thing. I mean, I'm probably going to talk about the main scene for the special effects later on. The special effects and like makeup artist of Rob Bottin, who did the effects on this. He did films like the original RoboCop, Total Recall, things like that. It's just phenomenal work. I think this is probably his best work. RoboCop's fantastic as well, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I think this takes the cake. Like,
horrible sequel.
And I mean, I think Rob worked on this movie for like a year or like over a year, 7 days a week, late nights, just straight. I mean, that's incredible. But to get it's totally worth the effort. I mean, look what he created in this film. Just amazing stuff. He went to like a comic book artist as well. When I was watching the behind the scenes, he went to a comic book artist and they went through the whole film, like storyboarded it. And he was just getting his thoughts together, managed to get his foot in the door with John Carpenter because he was a big fan of his work. I think he'd worked with him on The Fog, I think. And he sort of got the job from that on this. So it's a shame that this didn't win like any Academy Awards or anything for special effects or makeup, because I think it really, really deserves it.
Oh.
Here we have the doubt setting in. And I mean, he is just a naturally shifty character, isn't he, in this film? You get that sense. And the actor was talking about this when he was preparing for the role, that what gravitated him towards that character more was that he has the sense that he's already disconnected from everyone in the camp. He's closer to the animals than he is to humans. And that was the quality of the character that drew him there. So I guess this is meant to be footage of the prequel, right?
Apparently. See, even the looks better than the actual prequel.
Yeah. And that's kind of what my thoughts were like as well, when he just said, like, how much of this crap is there left? Oh, about 9 hours. That's how I felt with the prequel. So, like, just from watching this is all you need. This is all you need to see, you know? Just... say like the acting in this film, I mean, don't get me wrong, the acting in this film's great, just Keith David, Kurt Russell, everything like that, but the actors and like the caliber of actors they've got in this film, you can tell are the more kind of like old-timey actors just in their delivery, you know. It's difficult to explain it, but the whole kind of, now see, listen here, you got to do this and you got to do that, and it's that kind of delivery. It's a bit strange.
See, once it gets to the point where you go, no one should be alone in this film.
Well, they're still just trying. They know that something's up. They clearly know something's up. I'm trying to think that what's the moment. I think it's the bit where there's a scene in a minute where the doctor's got this kind of, I don't know how he's got it. It's like a computer program, and it simulates what will happen if the thing breaks out and gets to a highly populated area. And then he realizes that it can assimilate people if they're with it. So I think that's when they try and say, we need to keep everyone away from it. So we know that it's infected at this point one person, correct?
Yes.
Or possibly even more, because we don't know if that person then was alone with anyone else.
Infected. In fact, no, we don't know it's infected anyone yet, because it hasn't actually shown up yet.
Yeah. See, like, there's some effect shots like that. They're a little bit wonky, but I'm a huge fan of matte paintings. I think that it's kind of a lost art at this point, which is a real shame. Just the talent that goes into it, and it's now we've got CGI. It's just, why do we need to get a painting when we can just craft these amazing landscapes from a computer? But I do think that I love these older movies. Oh, do we have a George? We have a Kylo Ren. That was probably more scary than the actual film.
Chris, your mic quality's gone down as soon as George joined.
Oh, god damn it, Kylo Ren. Oh, he's dropped out now. He's put check Dacebook.
Check
Facebook. I think he means check Facebook. Did he just swing by to say hi? Was that it? That was amazing. So yeah, just doing a time check for those watching at home. We are coming up to 40 minutes at this point. They've just gone to the crash site for the UFO.
That's where they got the block of ice, obviously.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, this is probably getting too technical with it. But if you think about that, well, clearly the alien would have crash landed there. It would have crawled out, and then it would have frozen again. But didn't they say that, yeah, well, like thousands of years ago, like ages and ages ago, this thing crashed in the ice and crawled out. So wouldn't the depth of the ice be just massive compared to what it was? This goddamn guy who's always high with like conspiracy theories.
The aliens did it.
It's the Crystal Skull aliens, man.
George has asked the question. Is it worth me just coming into the stream for nothing but the banter?
It depends if it's going to kill my internet or my mic. Hang on. There! That's one of my favourite lines.
Yes.
Which one of you disrespectful motherfuckers leave their underwear in the goddamn kitchen trash can? So good. Wilford Brimley. See, is Blair the thing? This bit is the kind of shaky bit of the film for me, because it's like, how did he get this program? How did he write the code for this program? This is literally just in the movie as a form of exposition to explain what the thing can do and the stakes of what it can do if it gets out there. That's all this scene is in the film for. It feels a little clunky to me every time I watch it. It's a bit on the nose. But then again, if we didn't have this, I mean, it's all done without dialogue. It's just text on a screen with a program. But if we didn't have this, we would literally have the doctor just sitting down and going, look, this is what I think is going to happen, guys. If the thing gets out, it's going to replicate into all these humans, and it would have just been too wordy. So
yeah.
You know, I guess is the best way to do it. But every time I watch it, I am like, so when the blue little ice cube turns into a poo follicle, then the thing is assimilating it, and then it will become another. Yeah, it's just weird. It's like how the computer can like construct all this that it knows.
75%.
Yeah. What's George saying then?
He's saying, should I join, should I not join? He probably wouldn't watch the movie, so I'm telling him no.
Yeah. Especially if he's never seen it before, because then we're going to be giving away the whole film, and that's a shame.
You may have to back me up here on the Facebook thing and just send him a message that says no.
No, in capitals. Look, I don't want to make any enemies here, okay? Always just taking the gun out the cabinet. Yeah. The team is starting to fray, you can tell.
He's running out of his Jim Beam. I think that's Jim Beam.
Yeah. I don't know whiskies. I need to become like a whiskey connoisseur. I know Jameson's JD, which isn't even technically a whiskey. Oh, we have Kylo Ren back.
And Chris's mic goes down.
My internet can't handle it. It's trying to do too much at once. Sorry, George. It's nothing personal. We are. Well, you know, he should have been here on time. Sorry, George, but you know.
Sorry, Mac. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mac.
Sorry, Mac. And one thing that the newer film really failed to capture for me, which this does really effectively, is just express just how cold it is there.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't film this in the Arctic or the Antarctic. I can't remember where it said they are. They're in the Antarctic, I think, aren't they? In this film? But, I mean, later on where they get trapped out in the cold for too long, just caught in exposure, and then they get back in, they look like they are dying, how cold it is. It is twitching. I mean, this is just classic horror right here, isn't it? Just a shot like this. It's just... Ah.
He's screwed.
See, like, as a... God, sorry.
You would hear that.
I guess he just thinks it's dead. I think it'd just be like a psychological thing, wouldn't it? Like, you just assume that it's been there for however long. Looks like the snowplow from the end of The Shining right there. But here's the question we have to ask as well. I know this is sort of like going over like plot details right now, but when when the thing takes over someone, does that person then know that they are a thing, or are they still like blissfully unaware until like the thing wants to break out?
Don't know.
That's an interesting way to look at it. If they didn't know,
I'm pretty sure the thing will know.
Because we see later on in the film with I forget his name. The guy they kind of isolate from the group, and they put outside. No, I'm not going to say his name, but we know that there is a way where they try and scapegoat and pass the blame onto other people. So they clearly do know.
And he's like, "Oh shit."
It's the typical, almost Spielberg-like shot of the. That's horrible. But it's so good. I love it. I love it so much. See, as a kid, I would have loved like any kind of like gore stuff like that. I'd be like, yeah, this is awesome. This is cool. But now, like, I'm not put off by it. Like, I can watch gore and anything. But now you have that, like, the reactions we're having now, like the revulsion. So the thing very kindly just like mopped up before it went out. This bit coming up right now is actually, for me, probably the creepiest bit in the whole film. I mean, it meshes body horror and just pure, just like almost supernatural. This scream that it lets out. with his huge like lobster hands. It's amazing. It's very close to those drum barrels there, McCready. Do you want to like move the barrels away? That's a nice moment. I mean, would you say there's much character in this film, like character moments, or
Yeah.
do you think do you say there's just enough for what kind of film it is?
No, I'd say there's some good character moments in it. Definitely.
Because I mean, that was nice. I mean, that was really quick, really subtle, but just how he plays it, like you can tell that they're when he says they've been friends for 10 years. Yeah. I mean, it sucks. I mean, that would be fucking horrible if that happened to anyone. It's kind of like a typical like zombie outbreak kind of thing, isn't it? With how characters react when that happens. I wonder if George is going to like keep up the whole Kylo Ren cameo as like a running gag now on the show.
Maybe.
It's the new character on the channel. Where's Blair?
Where is Blair?
It's a very good question. I think I know who it took over first.
Go on.
I've got an idea, but I don't want to say it because it's technically going to be a spoiler, so I'll hold off. But I've got an idea. Just reading here, why it didn't make as much money when it first opened. It was going up against another Alien movie from the same year, which was a lot more family friendly and lovable. It went up against E.T. Same weekend by the looks of it, and that's a very, very different kind of alien story. This is harkening back to the much more sort of typical destruction, aliens are evil. I mean, E.T. was just massive, wasn't it? I mean, that was number one for ages. I mean, E.T. is a great film, don't get me wrong, but it's a shame that this was kind of overshadowed by it. But that's just poor marketing. That's just poor release scheduling. Yeah, because I was just thinking, and I was reading here, because it's also a Universal Studios film. Yeah. That's so strange that they do that. Maybe they just didn't think that this would do well at all, and they just thought, oh yeah, just lump it in with the release of E.T.
Did he just disable the helicopter?
Yeah. And the I think the snowplow as well, isn't it? Yep.
Well, we know Blair isn't the thing.
Blair's the is Blair the Kennels guy? Or is Blair Wilfred Brimley?
I thought Blair was the scientist.
Blair's with the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, See, I'm going to say right now, I think Blair is the first one to be turned into a thing. I think he is.
Really?
Yeah, for a lot of reasons. I guess it's easier if I go into it now. I'm not going to spoil the end or anything where it gets into that.
Stranded them there.
Well, we find out later when they move him away from the group that he wanted to be there because he starts constructing a little UFO underneath the room where he's in. So I see all this as an act of him wanting to be taken outside away from the group to work on that to get away. So therefore we can see that, I mean, if he is the first person that was sent to a thing, we can see that how their mind works and just how crafty and manipulative they are as a being, which is a really cool way to look at it. Or maybe he has just gone mental and he turns into a thing later on. It's it just throws the gun. Charge! Oh, the punch sound effect here is hilarious because the punch really doesn't connect when McCready punches him. give him the double tap.
I think he's the thing.
When I first watched that, I thought that guy died because like his eyes like roll into the back of his head. Oh, Wilfred's got his diabetes again.
He's just like,
oh, damn it. God, this film has more dog killing than High Rise. Actually, it's probably on par.
It's probably on par at the moment.
Review coming soon, by the way, guys.
Review coming soon for High Rise.
See, I think this is a kind of Joker or Loki ploy where he wants to be there.
No.
Because now he passes the book now. He says, watch Clark. You know? And we later find that Clark wasn't a thing, so he was lying. See there, I think he's shifting the doubt onto someone else, or maybe he is being genuinely paranoid here, and maybe the thing gets him later on while he's in the shed. We don't know.
Well, he is in isolation for a long time in the shed.
Yeah, but then again, he starts constructing the UFO, and that would take a while. Guys, by the way, watching at home, please do feel free to comment as well. Let us know who you thought the thing was the first time. This would be a good one to get a discussion going on. I would fight you, like in They Live.
Fight you. 1v1, bro.
Yeah, and you can't use any of your special thing powers either. No tentacles allowed, and no assimilation. Yeah, he was too close to that dog, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
He was a bit too friendly with the animals.
Yep, all the blood's gone.
So here's the question: who got rid of the blood? Which I think they bring that up now. They're talking about who had the key. So did someone swipe the key?
Maybe.
How dare you point at me, sir?
See, this is where it goes really good because all of the tension,
Yeah.
everyone's at each other's throats. They don't know who to trust.
And you're like that as a viewer as well, and I'm like that now, and I've seen this film probably close to 10 times. It's so good. It's so good. Give him 2 to the chest and 1 to the head.
One to the head just fine enough. Remember, they're low on ammo.
Oh,
Evil.
more bullets. You got to make sure this is a horror film. See, I'm trying to think who would have access to the blood, because again, I'm jumping forward again, but we know that he isn't one of the things, and we know that the doctor isn't for a scene that's coming up in a minute. So I have a feeling I know who it is based on the upcoming scene, but someone would have had to have swiped the. Aha, yeah.
See, I thought he was the thing from the start, Norris.
Yeah. Oh, you thought it was? Yeah, maybe. Although, because he has like a heart attack later on, doesn't he? And that's when they get him on the hospital bed. But I always thought it was because he'd literally just become a thing, and it was like the assimilation was still taking effect, and it was like having a sickness effect on him. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'd be tempted to read an article if someone's written one who's gone like really, really in depth into the film and thought their way through it. But then it will kind of take away the enigma of it a bit.
Searching it up.
I could just
Google. We got vector first in the thing.
I could just imagine some kind of like Russell Crowe equation from A Beautiful Mind, just like Venn diagrams and just weird shit.
Oh, they've got an actual timeline.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I'm gonna post it to you so you can read it.
I will read that after the movie. How do we know that the guy that didn't write that article is a thing?
Ooh.
Ooh. Man, when you think about it, 1982 sci-fi. You had this movie, you had E.T., and you had Blade Runner. Did you ever play the video game of this film?
No, I didn't know.
Well, it's technically a sequel, and with that, it kind of does spoil the ending of this film. And the ending to this film is one of my favorite endings to any film.
Yeah.
Getting juiced up. Rorschach's Journal. I wish McCready like hosted a radio show. That would be amazing. I realise we're kind of sitting in silence while watching this, but I'm sort of getting really invested in this film. It's been a while since I watched it. So, although all like the films are unrelated, I'm just sort of like reading sort of little bits on Wikipedia, the film space. But John Carpenter considers The Thing to be like the first part in somewhat of a trilogy, an apocalypse trilogy. With this being the first one, then Prince of Darkness and In the Mouth of Madness. Now, I've seen In the Mouth of Madness. That's another great John Carpenter film. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. Really kind of weird, almost H.P. Lovecraft kind of stuff. Cthulhu, mythos, things like that. I haven't seen Prince of Darkness yet. I do want to try and watch every John Carpenter film I can, but I know he hit a certain point, and then his movies kind of went downhill a little bit.
Okay, so I'm just gonna blurt it out.
Okay.
It was a stunt double who they got to film that scene, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay. The silhouette shot at the start.
And it was meant to be Palmer.
Now Palmer is. Let me just have a look. It's
radio.
Oh, the hippie guy.
The hippie guy, yeah.
Oh, okay. I would not have called that. Wow. Oh, that sound. It's just horrible. And again, this bit's supposed to be a mystery too, right?
Yeah.
As to who it actually was. Well, I think we get a sense later on that it's meant to be Wilfred Brimley's character pillaging for parts. Or is planting the doubt into someone else. See, I've seen a lot of theories out there that McCready is one of the things. Now, obviously, that has to be after the whole blood test scene, but
yeah.
I mean, we follow him all the way through, so unless it's an unreliable narrator kind of situation.
Yeah.
Oh, things are heating up.
That's what's good about this film. It just the tension.
Power through dialogue and characters arguing. Because you put yourself into that situation. I mean, I always love doing that in films anyway, but this one. I'm the kind of person, though, that even though if I haven't done someone and someone shouted at me, I still get really edgy and act like I've almost have done it or I'm doing something wrong. So I'd probably be like just burnt alive or something. And then they'd find out I wasn't a thing and hopefully they would feel bad about it. Evening, Commissioner. He's just made that. God damn it, McCready. Why did you leave the rope in there? God damn it, McCready, you didn't even leave me a microwave to heat the beans up. God, I don't even think I could do that. If I was starving and all I had was tins of beans left, I don't think I could physically eat a cold tin of beans. I really don't.
Depends on how hungry you are.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a trap!
They're wasting a lot of flares.
They are. They must have stockpiled that shit. Does it say how long they've been stationed there? You can tell it's been a while, especially considering McCready's just basically like a raging alcoholic at this point. Oh, this bit's funny. Like, they're clearly shouting on... Like, they wouldn't have had the wind sound effect while they were there. But there's one of these guys that just shouts a lot louder than everyone else. That guy in the middle. And one on the left.
Now, does he commit suicide here so he doesn't get assimilated?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to it. It's been a while since I watched it, but I know that he's not in the rest of the movie. I'm trying to think how he does it. That's Windows on the left, right? No, that's Windows.
Yeah.
Keith David's pretty shifty in this movie. I mean, he's cool. Don't get me wrong, he's amazing,
Everyone is
but
so shifty in this movie, dude.
yeah, like now, like we see him sort of grimacing, like he's about to have a heart attack or something. I always thought that was just because he'd literally just been taken over, and it was like working through his system. But
That's just bad. That won't hold.
he's like, God damn it, I'm trying, okay? Huh, 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 huh. It's like one of my favorite bits in the Scary Movie 3 is where he's barricading the door with all wooden planks and he's just got like hundreds across the door and he goes, yeah, that'll hold it. And then he turns his back and someone just literally just opens the door and walks through. Like when I was talking about the cold earlier, like they really look like they're freezing to death. This is the scene I was talking about. So do we find out who framed McCready?
Would have been the thing at some point, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But which thing though? That's what I'm trying to think. Because it must be someone that has access to the building. So what's the password? Ooh, god damn it. Stone cold from Charles. Here's Johnny. So for those watching at home, we're just at the scene now where McCready is about to just
Blow
to blow himself up. Because he's holding a thermal detonator. He accidentally lit the fuse. Like, oh shit, I was just bluffing. God, that was a dicey move there. So do you think he was faking, like having a heart attack there? Or do you think he is genuinely, that was like a defect that the actual guy had that was kind of part of the replication?
Unsure.
Now, this scene, I have got to talk about how awesome Rob Bottin was in this scene. There were actually two key shots in this, which were just the level of prep time they had to make the prosthetics and actually shoot it. It was basically, we've got to do this in one take for two of the things, for the head split and for when the chest bursts open. Both times they messed it up somehow, had to redo it. Okay, this bit. I'm going to wait till it actually happens and I'll say. Now, that was absolutely incredible how they pulled that off.
Yeah.
This scene there, that there where the goose sprays out, he wanted it just like a jet just like bursting out like it is in the film. When he first did it, it came out, he describes it as like a fountain at Las Vegas that showgirls would dance around. It was like literally came out like a sprinkler. And it was a one-shot thing. They had the actor lying underneath the bed. I think it was his actual arms, his shoulders, and his head, and then the rest of his body was underneath the bed. And they constructed this whole torso to go over the top that was meant to burst, and all the gunk was meant to shoot out. And that was the thing. It all sprayed out like a fountain, and it was a one-take thing. It took hours to get this makeup. I think it was said like 10 hours to get the guy in makeup with this chest thing. And it messed up, and John Carpenter just went like, cut. Okay, what the hell was that? Why was it like a fountain? And he says, yeah, we're going to have to go again. And they just spoke to the guy that was the actor on the table. It was like, yeah, we're going to have to go again. He's like, does that mean it's going to be like another 10 hours? He was like, yeah, I'm sorry. Which really, really sucks. But, you know, at least they persevered and they got it filmed. And the scene, there's three things to talk about with this. This was kind of where I was just saving all my behind-the-scenes stuff. The scene where the doctor, where he gets his arms ripped off, how they did that was just so amazing how they did that. They had the actual body cast with like a machine. It like opened and closed. And they wanted that ripping of the arms. So they got an actor that was a double amputee with both of his arms gone. I think it was cut off to about there, like half of his forearm. And they constructed the rest of his arms like out of jelly, and I think there was like wax bones, and they had some kind of weird jelly cords in there for like veins and things like that. And they had the actor put these fake arms in, close the apparatus, and then he had to like rip them back. And they constructed a mask of the doctor character to put it over the double amputee guy. And just watching it there, it's absolutely seamless how they pulled that off. And Rob Bottin as well talks about that the most important thing for all of that scene there, or any of the special effects in this film, was to shoot it in low light, because it makes it look more realistic. It hides a lot of the, you know, the well, I don't want to say cheapness, because the level of ingenuity that went into it was incredible. But I think the darkness does help it give it that realism. And then finally, and I'm going to shut up while this scene plays out, the head breaking off, which is probably my favorite effect alongside the dog that we saw at the start. They had this machine which like poked the head up through the body to break it away. And he wanted like all the green goo that you see to like pour out and like split as the skin ripped and everything like that. So he decided to do it with melting plastic, and I think he had like chewing gum in there as well for the stringy effect. And this melting plastic gave off kind of a paint thinner vibe to it. And
you just missed him kill.
Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, I'm going to power through this really quickly because this scene is amazing. And John Carpenter wanted flames at the bottom of the scene because McCready had just used the flamethrower. So they lit flames underneath the frame, all this melting plastic giving off paint thinner thing, and the whole prop just exploded in a fireball. And again, they had to reconstruct it and then shoot it at a later date. So yeah, but they got it done in the end. Rob Bottin's the man. So we're about coming up to 1 hour 20, and they're about to do the blood test.
Yes, this is probably the best scene in the film.
I was just completely engrossed in this. Like, oh, that looks so painful though. Like, why would you cut like a huge chunk out of your thumb? Because that would be so sore now, like the rest of the day. And I have a question about this as well. You know how he just mentioned that maybe each part of them is part of a whole, so that it will feel like it's attacked when he puts the red hot wire into the blood. Wouldn't it still have the same effect if it was cut and it would try and attack? Because I mean, you're technically inflicting harm on the tissue.
Yeah.
So, but that wouldn't be as good, would it? Or as suspenseful. Oh, I'll listen to this with headphones as well. It's just the sound effect of like the wind outside.
It's so much suspense.
Mm. Well, I mean, John Carpenter did a few films before this one, obviously, but probably one of the most suspenseful is Halloween, I would say. It's sort of like his big horror film he did. Revitalized the slasher genre for the 80s and late 70s into the 80s. But this... It's actually hard to kind of talk over this scene. This is probably my favorite scene in the film. Well, you know, he shouldn't have rushed at him then, should he?
Yeah.
He kind of had nothing to live for now. His animals have been killed anyway, so... No, it proves who's the thing. Ha-ha! Pardon? Oh! I love how the blood kind of retreats as
Yeah.
well. It's almost like the T1000 liquid metal. I was talking about a shaky effect earlier. For me, it's kind of what's coming up in a little bit. Like that looks great. That looks amazing. Oh, it's the scene when it bites the guy and like throwing him around. Like that, you can clearly like the legs there, but like there, like it's clearly just a dummy. Like there's no weight to that or anything. So that's like the only dodgy effect shot for me. I mean, it still looks fine, you know. Ah. You can kind of see like when it goes outside, like the really padded flame-proof suit.
Yeah.
But I love that stuff though, you know, because it's like they actually did that. They actually got a guy in flame in a suit. So I let things like that slide. Oh. Well, if it wasn't dead then, it's dead now.
Yeah, they're still panicking in the room because Windows is still.
So yeah, you kind of have to question like how it does actually start to assimilate people, because that really just bit him over the head, didn't it, and sort of threw him around a little bit. But he's like, brr, brr, brr.
They never fall.
Because I mean, you would act like that though, wouldn't you? Like, you absolutely would.
Oof.
This is one of my favorite lines coming up right now. It's like, tie to this fucking couch. Oh, I love that.
So,
And it's God, sorry.
left.
Yes.
20 minutes left.
God, this movie feels really quick when you watch it again.
It does.
It moves at such a good pace. And I think it's the right length as well. I think any longer it would kind of lose its impact a little bit. I think it's just perfectly the right length. I'm just actually checking out IMDb right now. It says that there's loads of different cuts of the film. There's like some with voiceover in some scenes. There's an entire TV cut, apparently.
What is that? Child friendly.
Yeah. God, that'd be an even shorter film, wouldn't it? Jesus.
It'd just be like the first. No, it wouldn't even be the first minute because the dog is being shot at. No,
it'd be a PG. I think you could get away with a PG. I think if you just like take the first 5 minutes, it's a nice, happy, enlightening story about a dog being saved from a crazed madman. You just leave it at that.
They adopt it.
Yeah.
It's a loving home.
And then the dog beats the chess wizard, and we turn it into like a feel-good family comedy. And the dog can be voiced by Tim Allen or something. So like this bit coming up now, this is a bit of a far-fetched bit in the film. It's a bit of a stretch, but you just kind of run with it because I love the movie anyway. So Wilfred Brimley was working on a UFO because he was actually a thing the whole time, as far as we know. And he's been working on a UFO so he can get back into space. We meant to admit that Wilfred Brimley's like giant, fairly rotund backside is going to fit in that UFO. I don't think so. And he makes a UFO out of helicopter parts as well. Like there, like the bit that we're at now. But you go with it because why not? It's a good movie. It's enjoyable.
They're like, there's another layer to this? What?
We have to go deeper. So you see, as mankind, we are almost there. We've made helicopters. Apparently you can make a spacecraft out of helicopter parts. So, you know, we're almost there. Interdimensional travel is possible. Dum dum. Dum dum. Again, the theme's just, it's so simple. It's so simple, but it just works totally for the film.
It does. It's a dark tone, which kind of fits the film.
And you know what? It's synth as well, and it came out in the 80s. Everyone knows that I'm a huge fan of the 80s. Everything like that, and just... They don't make soundtracks like this anymore. This would have, like, orchestra stings and Inception bombs and...
Yeah.
And music's just something that's always great in John Carpenter movies. Usually he does the music himself, or he'll, like, collaborate with someone else for his soundtracks. I think it's nice that he got Ennio Morricone to do the soundtrack for this one, though. I mean, John Carpenter came up with the Halloween theme, and that's one of my favorite horror movie themes of all time. So I know he can come up with creepy music, but what I like about this film as well is that the thing, we never actually know its native original form.
No.
Like, all the incarnations we see of it in this film could be any manner of other species that it's assimilated over the years, which is, it's really kind of cool. Because I was checking out some of like the original concept art and storyboard ideas when he says, right, you've got to do all the effects for the thing. If they almost looked like Greek mythology, like they were almost like cyclopses and minotaurs and all manner of crazy designs. I mean, that'd be great if you're like a conceptual designer or anything like that. I mean, if someone just says, yeah, it's an alien that could turn into anything, go crazy. Again, that soundtrack just keeps going, man. It's just that dun dun. It so works. So have you showed this film to many other people over the years, or have you just kind of...
Yeah, I have, yeah.
What's been the...
films where the general reaction has been, oh shit, that was a good film. But it is in my top list of films, which I now bring up on my phone.
Mm.
I'll find it quickly. It's my number 12 on my list of films.
Of your favorite films of all time?
12.
Oh wow! So I could see why you voted for this one then.
Yeah.
Out of all the other ones I picked. I mean, that's the great thing with like when you make the picks. I love all those movies, so I could have easily have done a commentary on any one of them. And we usually go with, not always, it might be just films that we like, but we try and keep this series as films that mean something to us. And for me, it's just one of my favorite suspense and horror movies. So that's why.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant.
And especially with your picks, you kind of want to stretch and get different picks, so you've got just some interesting options. That's kind of why I put Rocky on there as well. I know you're not a fan of Rocky, but I thought, put a sports movie on there, put like a drama piece on there. Question is, next month is going to be your picks, Tay. You haven't got your picks sorted out yet, though, have you?
I actually might do. Give me a second.
Oh. Okay, so save it for the end. Save it for the end. Because I'm hyped to see what you picked this time. I'm trying to remember what your other picks were last time. You had Prestige was clearly the winner.
Gattaca.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna have a look.
Have you got any? Have you got any recurring ones from your first list back into this one, or are these all new picks?
We should not do that at all.
Okay.
The Whiplash, Brooklyn, The Usual Suspects, and The Prestige.
So this scene playing out now. I guess we're kind of coming up to the end right now, aren't we? We're about 10 minutes away. Just over. This scene, well, the end of this scene had a lot more tacked onto it. I'll get into that in a minute when the thing crops up. But that would have made this film have a very, very, very different. This bit as well, I get frustrated with when I watch it. It's the classic Scooby-Doo, let's split up gang, and systematically get picked up. But I like how there's no music in this bit. It's just all the ambient sound. Because they have just physically reached that point mentally where it's like, we know we're not getting away from here. We're not going to make it. So
we've just got to take it down.
We've got to go out in a blaze of glory. I mean, that's what I would do.
No.
You sure that's not going to be one of your picks, Tate?
Hell no. Don't have a DVD of it, that's why.
Whoa, jump scare. This bit's horrible. Look at this. Oh. He's got some stretchy ass skin on his cheeks. Oh! Is he dragging him by the skin of his face? Oh. Don't do it.
Now, there are a lot of... Well, there are two different things that may have happened here, and John Carpenter said he left it ambiguous.
Mm.
I'll leave it for people who are watching first time, but I will explain it afterwards. He goes off, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't come back.
No. We can hear that sound, like that scuffle, that weird, echoey.
Now, people have said, does he commit suicide or does he get assimilated? A lot of people saying he commits suicide so he doesn't get assimilated.
No, I think he goes off to check the noise because he hears it, turns around, and he walks off.
I know, but he.
I don't think he'd leave McCready behind.
No, he finds the thing and decides to commit suicide instead of getting assimilated.
Oh, right.
Because he knows he can't fight it.
Well, I don't know. We never see the body, do we? So.
Just that flick.
We don't know if he did. God, I can't say enough. Kurt Russell's just, he's an absolute treasure to the acting community. I love that guy. It's actually Bugs Bunny. I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. So here, this is where some of the effects as well are a bit ropey now. Like that's stop motion animation right there.
Yeah.
And this whole scene was originally going to be much longer than it actually is. Oh, that looks great though. This bit here, when the dog bursts out. I mean, this monster right now is just like, it's kind of like a greatest hits, isn't it? It's like a bit of everything that it's throughout the movies. But yeah, I mean, I thought I had this personal review on it as well when I watched it the first time. I felt that this ending was very quick. Like we finally get the thing in all its glory, and the great line coming up right now. That's probably the line I quote most from this film. And I mean, right there, it's gone. Originally, and I think you can watch this on YouTube as well. There's a much more extended version of that fight. There's a lot more stop motion animation with the works of it, and it just doesn't look as good. And you can see why they cut it. I don't think the technology was there to really make it work. I think the stop motion animation kind of cheapened the look of it, of what otherwise was a great looking film. And I don't really think you need a big bombastic fight with the thing at the end. I mean, it does feel very quick, but for me, that wasn't the most important part of the climax. Just we see the thing and it looks great, whatever. This is the part of the climax that you want, and this is why this is one of my favorite movie endings of all time. Just where this movie leaves it off, how Kurt Russell and Keith David play it. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Because neither of them can trust each other or themselves.
Yeah, and the final shot of the final shot I think is a wide shot of the camp, but the shot before that, the last shot of McCready, he kind of chuckles and he's like gives a sly little smirk, and it's as a viewer you kind of do the same because you're like that'd be such a sucky situation, but you just have to accept it. And I've seen some theories out there as well, like people claiming that Childs has become one of the things because he's not breathing out, the condensation from the cold. I mean, McCready looks like he is dying, like he is freezing to death, whereas Childs looks... Yeah. But I do actually think when you see Childs up close, I do think you actually do see his breath in the cold, so I guess that dispels that theory. But he doesn't feel as weathered. Because, I mean, these two guys have just had that mutual kind of just hatred for each other throughout the whole movie, haven't they? So it makes sense that they're the final two we're left with. Share a drink with each other. I love that. Oh, yes! And the soundtrack kicks in right at that moment. That bit there, where he just kind of laughs at the situation.
They don't know whether they've won or lost.
He realizes how futile it is.
Yeah.
It's just...
And that got John Carpenter's The Thing. I'm going to lower down the sound for discussion time now.
Yeah, sure. I actually will just say as the credits play out, because we always talk over the credits, the font used in the credits, I think is a font that's like commonly used in a lot of John Carpenter films. It seems like he has that one font for most of his credits. I don't know if it's in every film, but most of the ones I've seen, like I think Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York, They Live, all have this, and I think Halloween does too. I can't remember if In the Mouth of Madness does as well. So let's talk about that ending for a bit then. Your thoughts and theories? Are you on the fence?
I don't have much to say. The best ending they could have possibly done there is that neither of them are the thing.
Yeah. And you know what? I kind of think that's how it actually is. We will never know. Well, okay, you know the video game I mentioned before? I think it came out for PS2, PC. I'm not sure if it came out for original Xbox or not. It's set after it is a sequel, and unfortunately, it carries on from that moment. It's a new team going to the place to investigate it, and they find the body of Childs, and McCready's not there. I didn't play the game myself. I'm trying to remember it now. I don't know if it turns out that McCready was a thing. McCready does show up in the end of the game, and I think that Kurt Russell did return to do the voice of it, but we do find Charles's body. Now, that's not canon. I don't regard that video game at all. Apparently, it's not a very good video game anyway. I've seen like Spoonie's review on it and a bunch of other reviews. I just go by the film. That's all I'm focusing on. And I think, pretty similar to you, that neither are the thing, but that's what's so great about it, because they don't know, and they will never know. No. Child still does feel really feels really shifty, and I guess that's the intention, because it wants to plant that doubt into your mind. But you could say he's just been consistent, because we said that he was just constantly shifty throughout the very beginning of this film. I watched that. I remember watching that film for the first time. It hit that ending, and I just wanted to stand up and just like applaud. I was like, "That's the perfect ending they could do."
I'm always a fan for those bittersweet endings, which you will see when you see my picks. Wow. Wait, let me just have a look. 1, 2, yeah, all 5 of them are bittersweet endings. Beautiful.
I love my bittersweet endings too. Open-ended films as well, like that. Inception's probably the best example I can think of right now. But I'm
Usual Suspects.
Usual Suspects.
No, Usual Suspects just had a good twist.
Yeah. I love twists as well, but sort of like open-ended ones. Leave it up to your own imagination. What happened? I love those kind of endings if they're done right. Some films just use it as a like just as a way out and just go, oh yeah, make up your own mind about it, and they don't feel justified. Feels like a really easy way out. But when it builds and it makes sense to the narrative, then
Inception is the only film that could ever get away with, and it was all just a dream.
Yeah, absolutely. The Inception was a great one as well, because I remember seeing that in the cinema, and when it was that slow tracking shot onto the spinning top at the end, I was laughing because I knew it was going to cut off, but just the audience's reaction when that film cut to black.
We know that wasn't his totem, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. After many viewings and article reading and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Palmer was meant to be the one infected.
Yeah. So what else did you read in this article? Did it just go through like the entire thing, or was it just on the first guy?
Like what happened on day 1, what happened on day 2, But yeah, it was okay. Just reading through that, just seeing all the different events laid out and like how things died where. And they did say that the dude at the end, they said they wanted it to be him going out heroically. However, they decided that him seeing the thing and realizing there was nothing he could do, he just committed suicide so he wouldn't be assimilated.
It's a cool theory, and I like that this film has sparked that amount of theories and interpretations of it. I think that's really cool if a film can do that.
You have to remember,
just going
when they go into I'm sorry, who's the guy who's locked away in the shed?
Wilford Brimley is the actor. I can't remember the name of the character. Blair, isn't it? I think it's Blair.
Yeah. When they went to go see him, the door was open, and that's when they found the little kind of hut, the like spaceship and shit like that. So, would there be an opportunity for anyone to go out and affect him?
I guess so. I mean, the thing could find a way. That's what I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know whether he faked it to get in there.
I'm sure that Blair killed, what's his face? The guy who went out and they found his glasses.
I'm
pretty sure.
But also go on, sorry.
No, you go on.
I was to say it's interesting because Blair is the only one that is trying to construct a spaceship to get away from the situation. The others are just kind of systematically picking people off in the building. So would they? It's a very small craft. It looks like it's a one-man craft, and I don't even think one person would fit in there personally. But was one just like going to go away to like another part of the world, and the others would have to walk, or I don't know. It's interesting, but I think that I like that it doesn't go insanely in depth into it. As I say, it gets a bit ropey when it brings in that whole spaceship, but you just kind of go with it. It's a fun sci-fi flick. So the credits are just finishing off right about now. We've got about 30 seconds left. Final thoughts on the movie? Would you recommend it, and especially to like a modern audience?
Brilliant film. Obviously recommending. It's one of the greatest films I would say of all time. I mean, it's my 12th favorite film of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a perfect example of a good practical effects film.
Mm.
And it's brilliant direction, brilliant story, leaves you on the edge. It does everything right. Brilliant acting as well. And it works on tension. Not many films work on tension nowadays, and films need to go back to working on tension. And I feel like that's kind of lost in modern cinema.
Mm.
So I feel like more films like this would bring forward a new golden age of cinema.
Mm. Absolutely, and I say this all the time with my love for the 80s, not just movies but music and just the lifestyle in general. I'm hopelessly nostalgic for a decade I never even grew up in, which is kind of amazing. But you're right, I'm looking at my DVD shelf now, and the whole second shelf of mine is just filled with 80s movies. And there is a magic and there is a quality to those movies that I think is lost now. Don't get me wrong, we still go and see all the modern releases, and there are some that I absolutely love. Although I guess you and George would probably testify against that, and that I'm overly critical on everything. But I mean, I do love modern movies, and my love of movies will never change. But there is something about those 80s movies, especially horror films. I think that quality has really been lost now. I mean, I went to see Conjuring 2. I really enjoyed that film. Tom wasn't so keen on it, but even as horror goes, it's not a patch on those ones that like came about in like the late 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. It really isn't.
Yeah, no,
And I would like to see films go back to things like this. I mean, you mentioned about Mad Max Fury Road and how you thought that film would sort of spark a resurgence in practical effects. And whether it has or not, I'm not sure. I think they are slowly starting to come back a little bit more, perhaps.
no, but not
Like in the audience's consciousness, kind of like they saw that and what you can do, and now I think people are just sort of criticizing the CGI and things a lot more now. At least that's what I've seen. I don't know. I don't think CGI is going away though. I think it'll always be here to stay. But yeah, absolutely right. I would highly recommend this movie. I would still recommend it to a modern audience, although my friend watched it and thought it was terrible. He hated the whole movie. He thought it looked bad, and that's where I just almost fell out with him. I still think the effects look phenomenal. It's some of my favorite practical effects work in any film at all. It's just unparalleled to watch, and it was great watching it again. I've seen it many times, so it wasn't one where I was going back having seen it from ages and ages ago. I have seen this film enough to remember it perfectly clearly, but it was fun sitting down and give it another watch again. And I hope our commentary was sufficient enough. Although we do just kind of get lost in the magic of movie making and the film and just sit back and watch it. So that will do it for our commentary for Timestamp Zero Episode 3. I now have to wait a good few more months before I can pick some again. However, Tate, the circle is now complete. It comes back to you. You've got your choices, and I have to commend you for actually coming up with 5 picks as we were doing this commentary. So yeah, if you want to list those, I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to pick this time.
I'm going to go in a certain order.
Okay.
Introduce each one.
Hopefully, I've heard of them.
Oh, you've heard of all of them.
Okay, that's all right.
We have my favorite. I'd say my favorite Alfonso Cuarón film. This film was I picked up on it quite late, and it really is brilliant, especially for that one tracking shot. That's right, people. Children of Men.
Okay.
I am really looking forward if we do Children of Men, because I have a lot to talk about Children of Men.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, people, film confession here. I don't mind all of the Matrix films. I can.
Oh no!
All 3 of them.
Oh no! Oh no!
The Wachowskis have had a terrible run of films of recent times. However, I still think better than the Matrix. I think this film is actually better. That is Cloud Atlas. I really enjoyed Cloud Atlas.
Okay, that's
I read the book beforehand. I read
See,
the book beforehand, and you thought I was going to say Matrix Revelations.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna go for that. Oh my heart when you said Cloud Atlas, I was like, oh, thank God, I actually like that movie. I haven't read the book on it, but I thought you were gonna go Reloaded or Revolutions, and I was panicking.
We're now going to track over to Tom Cruise. Now, Tom Cruise has been in so many films over the years, and this is probably my favorite sci-fi film, which people might be thinking, no, it's Oblivion. It's the other one that people don't really talk about. I really like Oblivion, and I thought there would be quite an interesting discussion, seeing as I've probably seen it about as many times as Gattaca, even though I prefer Gattaca.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen Oblivion, so that'll be a first for me if that one gets picked. I know it came out, I think it was a year before Edge of Tomorrow.
2013, yeah.
I think it was a year before Edge of Tomorrow, and then when Edge of Tomorrow came out...
One of the best film soundtracks. I listen to the film soundtrack on a weekly basis, and it has my favorite song of all time, Oblivion by M83 with Susan Sumford.
Are you talking about actual music soundtrack or orchestral?
Music and orchestral. M83 did the entire soundtrack.
Oh, right, okay.
Really good synth, orchestra, really well put together. Next, we have a film which I can't remember if you hate it or George hates it, but it's Wes Anderson, and
it's probably me then.
It's Wes Anderson, and it is the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh God, I won't be voting for that one.
Have you seen it? You've seen it, haven't you?
I've seen it. Yeah, it was a miserable film going experience for me. But yeah, I'm not a huge Wes Anderson fan. It's like the Coen brothers for me. Like everyone seems to love them, but I'm not a fan.
Hail Caesar was amazing.
I still need to see Hail Caesar, to be honest. But
I have to, because Aldrin, and I can't even say his name. He is now Han Solo.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So you have to see it. Okay, and now for the final pick, we have what we have discussed. We both like this film. I know.
Oh, okay. I can't
remember where you put it, but we both put it in our top 5 romantic films, and that is 500 Days of Summer.
Oh, I might possibly be the problem is, if I vote for that one, that's probably going to bring up a lot of like therapy points for me. So that might be a bit of an awkward one for me to talk about.
So I'm just going to go down how they're listed. We've got Children of Men, 500 Days of Summer, The Grand Budapest Hotel, Cloud Atlas, and Oblivion.
That is a decent pick. I won't be voting for Grand Budapest Hotel, but the rest of them are a decent pick. I like that you've gone for like a broad span of different kinds of films. Great. So we'll get on the straw poll for that. We'll get that out. We'll start the voting for next month. Let me just check the date as to when that will be. We always do this the last Sunday of every month. Or at least we'll try to, if our schedules marry up. Hopefully we'll get George on the next one. I'm just checking July. Last Sunday will be the 31st of July on that one.
Awesome.
So we'll aim for that. We'll put the vote out to you guys and get voting again. Once again, thank you to everyone that voted for all the picks on today's episode. We hope you vote again for the next load. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it. So be sure to comment, subscribe, let us know what you thought of John Carpenter's The Thing. Are you looking forward to Tate's picks? Whatever you like, please do drop us comments.
Are you looking forward to the Game of Thrones finale, people?
Yes, we are, because it's like, what, 90 to 100 minutes. It's going to be pure epic. I can't wait. So I think are we doing the live stream tomorrow night, or are we doing that Tuesday?
No, because England is playing tomorrow night, and that completely dates when we did this.
Yes, it does.
England is playing tomorrow, so we can't.
So now you can watch this from the future and actually see if England win the match.
It'll depend on our mood. I mean,
yeah.
I would say Tuesday, I reckon, is a safe bet to when we can.
Okay, we'll shoot for our Game of Thrones discussion show on Tuesday. It's going to be sad because I've really, really enjoyed doing that series. Talking Game of Thrones was something a bit different on this channel TV, but it's the series finale. We'll probably be back next year when we get our 7-episode season or whatever they're doing with that. There'll be reaction videos from me. Trailers are sort of dropped off at the minute. I've got a requested one, which I'll get on tomorrow. And in terms of film reviews as well, we're going to be getting back to those. I know there wasn't one this week. I've seen Independence Day Resurgence. Tate, I think you're off to see that one, right?
I might be. Yes, maybe.
Yes, because I need to vent about that movie. Please don't say I went to see that movie in vain. I think we said we're going to try and get a review out for that Tuesday as well. So look out for a review for that around that time. Hopefully someone goes to see it. And Finding Dory, we will have a review for that later this week. Tate, me and you are kind of the animation guys. Will you be going to see that one, or is George enough to see that one?
I am seeing that one.
Yeah. Okay. So expect those 2 movie reviews this week. Yes, a lot of exciting stuff happening with the channel. Please hit that subscribe button. And until the next video, we will see you guys next time. So thank you very much for watching.